A Nolan Wells bombshell report tonight. Does it?
County deputy told the press no foul play was suspected. That was July 6th. By July 21st, Nancy Grace had convened a 1-hour special. A grand jury was reportedly empaneled, and the Department of Justice was fielding calls.
Does it reveal new witnesses? And because of the new timeline report, is there a timeline shift in what happened the afternoon?
That is a shift in momentum that does not happen by accident. It happens when someone with a national platform decides a case is not going to disappear. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Project Cold Case. Because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. The initial official narrative was straightforward: a tragic 4th of July drowning. Nolan Wells, 18 years old, rowed out to Horn Island on a boat called the Triton. The boat had bilge pump trouble. His friends say they left without him because he wanted to stay behind and talk to a girl named Katie. He was found dead 2 days later. The sheriff said no crime was committed. Case closed.
What is in that autopsy?
Now I really want to see the other autopsy to see, is there trauma to the body? Is there something that happened?
I couldn't.
Except it was never closed. And the reason it is not closed is because the evidence does not align with a simple drowning.
Not only has the timeline been analyzed by the Cajun Navy, the U.S. Cajun Navy, based on
the independent autopsy commissioned by the family could not determine cause or manner of death, a finding that effectively contradicted the local coroner's preliminary assessment. The state autopsy has been completed, but will be withheld until a grand jury reviews it. A grand jury that is now convening. That sequence is itself an admission that the initial dismissal was premature at best.
Much has been made. Nolan Wells was drinking. Okay, well, apparently everybody was. They all have containers.
That is a direct contradiction. One party says he chose to stay.
That is the question, right? We don't know from an investigative standpoint who has been spoken to, exactly who is in this photo, and what they have or haven't told.
The other says he intended to leave. Both cannot be true.
Brace yourself, Trasher. Everybody else is getting death threats. You might as well join the party. To you, Brian Trasher, the United Cajun Navy has come up with a timeline. Now, did I hear Caitlin Becker from the New York Post correctly?
Here is where the forensic fury comes in. The timeline is the battlefield.
They're doing something, which is more than all of the haters can say. They're doing something. They have amassed
That's not an investigation. That's an assumption dressed up as a conclusion. We keep coming back to the same question. Every investigation starts somewhere. But where did this one actually begin? Because it appears to have begun with a declaration of innocence rather than a pursuit of facts.
There is a group of people fighting at 5 p.m. Who are they? The friends say they leave at 4:31. That should be able to be verified through GPS.
GPS data reportedly shows the Triton departed at 4:03 p.m. Witnesses on social media said Nolan was still on the island at 40:50 p.m.
5 p.m. Nolan, according to them, is still at Horn Island. Is he? Because by 7:30, witness states Nolan nowhere in sight. So where was he? He wasn't floating in the water. He wasn't.
A separate witness reported he was nowhere to be seen by 7:30
drowned. p.m. Wouldn't he be floating in the water?
Perhaps. I've seen bodies in the
There is a gap of nearly 3 hours where the official narrative relies entirely on the word of a group of friends whose accounts have already proven inconsistent on key details.
They claim they begged him to board their vessel, but he said no. Let me understand this. According Caitlin Becker, according to the mysterious Katie, not that mysterious because her sister has posted and we've obtained her photo, we think. She says he left with his friends. They say he stayed with her. Okay, that's a problem.
Now, let's talk about Katie. The friends told Nolan's mother that he stayed with a girl named Katie. At first, they claimed they didn't know her, had never seen her before. Then it emerged they had been texting with her. Her sister gave a different account, telling the Daily Mail that Katie believed Nolan was getting ready to board the boat with his friends, and that the friends wouldn't have left without him.
That said, Every investigation starts somewhere. Yes, I don't have the timestamp, but I can get the timestamp because I know about the photo.
The United Cajun Navy compiled a 22-page working report. They are not investigators, but their document lists the evidence they suggest law enforcement should request. Phone records, GPS data, witness interviews conducted separately. They are asking the questions that should have been asked on day one. And the suggestion to request specific evidence implies that the investigation is not pursuing those avenues aggressively enough on its own. There is an audio recording of the Triton contacting a towing service. The call was canceled. A Good Samaritan towed the boat in. That Good Samaritan is now receiving threats online. That is the environment this case has created. An environment of intimidation, of witnesses being harassed, of public figures receiving death threats. A California man was arrested for making threats against a judge who is the stepmother of one of Nolan's friends. That is not just a distraction.
So for you, a trial lawyer like yourself, in your own words, won most of them, you know evidence is not handed to you, Mobley, on a silver platter, on top of a Christmas tree. You have to find it.
That is a systemic failure of justice. Every investigation starts somewhere, but this one started with a refusal to look anywhere that mattered.
You have to find it. You have to investigate it. And that is the point of this timeline from the Cajun Navy. They're giving us a plethora, a cornucopia of evidence for us to start with. What? Don't waste another minute.
The family is not satisfied. The public is not satisfied. The grand jury is now the mechanism through which the truth must be forced.
We've got something. We're not getting anything from the government. We don't have the autopsy. We don't have any information. Nothing. They've gone radio silent.
It's exceptionally, exceptionally helpful to have these things laid out in this way with coordinates and times and pulling in some of the relevant social media information while also noting that it hasn't been verified. It's giving us, I think, the most comprehensive timeline that we could possibly have.
The central question remains what happened between 4:30 p.m. when the Triton left and 7:30 p.m. when Nolan Wells was last seen. And why are the people who claim to have been there so unable to provide a consistent answer?
We wait for a witness list to be produced. At this hour, reports a grand jury is convening to
We are going to leave you with a specific document. The United Cajun Navy report is publicly available. They released it through their official channels on August 4th. Read it. Compare the timeline they compiled to the statements made by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office.
If you know or think you know anything regarding this case, dial 228-769-3063.
And ask yourself one question. If the investigation was thorough, why does a volunteer organization's report provide more detail than any official update from the Department of Justice? Like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Project Cold Case. The truth is in the documents. We're going to find it.